Hi guys! Again, you hear from me. So we're gonna do a live session with Stefan, and today we're gonna be talking about boredom and loneliness and how to overcome both. I think I keep hearing people saying they're very bored this season. So I'm gonna try to address some of that. I forgot I had to wear earphones. Hi! So we're just gonna wait for Stefan to join us, and we're also gonna go live on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you guys want to join us there, then that's cool. Give us a while. My headphones. Okay. Yeah, just waiting for Stefan to join me on Instagram.
Okay. How do I join? I see your the last live story instead.
You go to my live
Okay.
now. There's a current live that's going on. Then you just ask request to be in my video.
Okay. Yes, in.
I hope you all had lunch. You'll wave and then I physically wave, okay? I kind of need a haircut.
Yes, I'm in.
Yep, you got a request to be live in my video.
Yep, requested. Do you see it?
Not really. Let me see. Yep, okay. Adding you.
Awesome, awesome.
Okay. And we're live on YouTube and on Facebook. Hi!
Hello.
Okay, great. Thanks everyone for joining us, whether you're catching us from Instagram Live or YouTube or Facebook. Today we're going to talk about being more motivated and also this whole topic of overcoming boredom and loneliness. Okay, so we're just going to wait for a few more people to join us and then we're going to get right into it. In case you don't know, if you haven't joined us for previous sessions, then this is Stefan Liu, who's the founder of the School of Positive Psychology, and he will be giving us the positive psych sort of angle to all of this so we can all learn to be happier on the basis of science. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so Stefan, now that everyone is like stuck at home, and yeah, I mean, we're mostly stuck at home unless we're going out to eat or just to buy food. Everyone's complaining, or a lot of people are complaining that they are bored.
Yeah.
Or in a more Singapore way, people say very sian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how would you go about dealing with this?
Well, if you talk about boredom, Jade, I think boredom happens to anyone in this COVID-19 period. And this is one of the most common emotions that people have reported. I will largely say that why people are bored is because that they have so much skills and talents and potential, but they seems to be in a position that they are unchallenged, which means that they don't feel challenged at all, therefore that they feel bored. And I think the second possible reason is because that they have a lack of meaning. If let's say people with more meaning, they will definitely feel much more challenged during this period. Well,
Okay.
I mean, this is my thoughts at this point.
Okay, and then also in this time, people are saying that they feel lonely. Not just the people say that they feel bored, but they also feel lonely. So how can we sort of deal with this, and what makes a person feel lonely? Because sometimes you can be alone and still feel lonely. Oh, sorry, you can be with people and still feel lonely.
Oh, that's a great point. I think there's a difference between loneliness and aloneness. A person who is feeling lonely, they may be with a group of people, but they still feel that they are not very connected because there may be a lack of meaning, and which I will go to that part in a while about meaning. And the other part is about being comfortable being alone, but they're still engaged with meaningful activities. I think a great part, what I'm trying to say here is that when people are bored or they feel lonely, it's because that they may feel a lack of meaning. And I could elaborate a little bit on this. I know that many people have been saying that during COVID-19 period, they feel more bored than before. But I
Yeah.
would like to raise a very important point, which I think that many of us can relate, is that there are two types of happiness. The first type of happiness is known as hedonistic happiness. And which means that, of course, the word hedonism comes from the meaning called maximizing pleasure and minimizing pain. So
Yep.
what is that? So when we do, we go out for entertainment, we go shopping, we buy stuff, we go for parties, or we hang out with friends, we go watch a movie, go for a massage. These are all hedonistic happiness. They help people to feel motivated sometimes, but they do not increase meaning or engagement, right? And the other part of happiness, which is very important for us, that gives us meaning, is known as eudaimonic happiness. Which means that we do something that is meaningful, we do something that is bigger than ourselves, like contributing to the society, to the world, or to meaningful activities. So I
Mm-hmm.
would dare say that many people will really feel a little bit bored before
Yeah.
COVID because they always tend to focus on one area, which is hedonistic happiness. I hope it makes
I mean,
sense.
it does make sense. And I would say that I'm a person who probably knows definitely this sense of hedonistic happiness, because I am used to going out and basically living life in a very loud and large way, right? Like partying or like doing extreme sports, things like that. Really is really, I guess what you're saying that is really like hedonistic happiness, and it's just pleasure for pleasure's sake. So I think in this time of COVID-19 and staying home, I've had to find other ways to find happiness. And in that way, I guess maybe I found a bit more of eudaimonic happiness, right? In doing other things or like producing meaningful content or having meaningful conversations with people, trying to help friends through like difficult times. I think that sort of happiness is a different sort, and that's like the eudaimonic happiness that you're talking about.
Exactly. You're right on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So, with things like I think that with, like I said, I feel like with hedonistic happiness, I have no problems because it's also about being playful and having fun with life. And I don't know, I know people, some of them say that they don't know how to have fun. I find it hard to like relax and to just really chill, although I've learned to do that at this period, but I definitely know how to have fun and I know how to play. And I think that science has shown that there are psychological benefits. It's actually been proven by science that it's important to play.
Mm. Yeah, I think play is such a very important well-being ingredient. And I would say that when we become adults, we feel that play is not as important when we were children. And
Yeah.
sometimes we may also feel that play is a waste of time, it's not productive, we should have a better use. But research has proven that, the top three regrets of people at the deathbed, they say that when they interview them, they say that they wish that they have not worked so hard. They wish that they could spend more time with their loved ones and do things they like. I think that's an indicator that we really need to play. And of course,
Mm.
we play all the time. And what's the benefits of play? The play actually increase endorphins when we are stressed. It helps us to cope with negative events. It helps us to become more creative. It also helps us to increase problem-solving skills and increase our mental toughness. So play is really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are a lot of different forms of play. So for me, my top way of playing is, I think, definitely sports. I play netball and I wakeboard, although cannot do any of this in this period, but I found ways to do it. I mean, I do like home workouts and I do it with friends because I'm a very, very social creature and I find like everything is just more fun doing it with people. Not everyone feels the same. Some people enjoy like doing stuff alone. And yeah, I'm just not one of those people. Um, I think that for me, the biggest way that I play is sports, but I also know that there are other ways to play. Like, how do you play? Because you are not like as into sports as I am.
Well, first and foremost, if I can say that, I am very impressed by how the way you play with sports, and I noticed that you are connecting with your friends online to play
Yeah,
also like a sports event, and I
yeah.
think that's very important, and that's why play is being creative. For me, I play with my cats, and I play with my loved ones, my fiancée Alice. We spend time to play games together, and one of the biggest draw that I play games. I know, right?
Like
Video game.
video games.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
My
Well,
husband is like probably thinking, see, I told you video games are good. I mean, I really have zero patience for playing video games, but I know that it's a very popular thing for people to do. So what you're saying is it's good to play video games.
yeah, it's actually good to play video games. You know why? It's because that when we play in any form of play, we are simply absorbed in that task and we are distracted from all the external stuff. We are being very single-minded. We lose track of time and we bring out our abilities and strengths in that meeting that challenge. And it is okay to feel safe, to fail in that challenge. And people who play games are actually quite resilient. I'd like to add that. So your husband would be one of them. I'm not saying that you're not, but people who play games, they can build resilience through gameplay.
That's so funny. I really, yeah, I'm really not a gamer at all. I mean, I've played, like, my best friend is quite into games too. And so she's introduced me to certain like games. I mean, long ago, even like something as simple as Candy Crush. I think I made it up to level 14 or 15. I'm like, okay, this sucks. Also, I'm so bad at it, like I couldn't get beyond that. So maybe I don't like it because I'm really bad at it, but it just doesn't hold my attention as like things like physical play, like sports to me holds my attention and really gets me into that sort of flow state. But you know what you mentioned just now? You said when we play, you touched on the idea of it uses our strengths. And um, for me, from studying positive psychology, strengths is a huge, huge part of, you know, the whole thing about positive psychology. So maybe we can talk a bit more about that. Like, what exactly do you mean, like, when you play computer games or video games, it plays to your strengths?
You know, one big part about playing games is also about being connected with other people. So when we play games, most likely we don't only play with videos, we play with people around us, online or whichever. And there's a lot of social element. So how is it connected to strengths? It's because that we have psychological resources within us known as strengths. And these strengths are just like, you know, it makes us shine, it makes us energized. And what is a strength? A strength is an ingredient that we have. And when we use it, we become much more energized. It impacts our performance and it brings success to our relationships in many different aspects of work also. So strength is definitely a good thing. If I could elaborate more, just a simple metaphor, as you know that, right, that we spoke about this many times, that we are like captains of our ship and we are sailing in the sea. And if let's say that our ship have mast and the sail, tapping onto the strengths is like using the sail to adjust to the wind so that we can travel further and faster. So strengths are great things. Yeah.
I think though in the positive psychology context, I mean, people I think understand from a very normal, non-positive side point of view, like, okay, what are my strengths? Like I'm good at cooking, for example. Okay, obviously I'm not because I did an IG live yesterday on cooking eggs. If you see it, it's like really embarrassing. But like maybe my strength is I'm athletic, right? Or I have a good sense of balance. That's a strength. But I think that when we talk about strengths in a positive side context, it's actually quite specific. So there are many different tests. I think the easiest one, and if you're watching, you might want to do this straight after watching this chat, or you might even be, I don't know if you can multitask like that. You might want to do this even as you're talking to us, but there is a thing called the VIA strengths test, and it's absolutely free. If you Google it, you'll be able to find, there's a link to the VIA strengths test. So go take it. It's about 240 questions? So it takes about, I think it took me 15 minutes, but I read very fast and I answer very fast. So it might take you 15 to 20 minutes, I think, to complete. But there are a list of 24 strengths and they're quite specific. And it's quite interesting. I mean, it's a way to get to know yourself better. And honestly, rather than watching another show, right, or another drama, I would encourage you to do this. When I did it, I was actually quite surprised yet not surprised, you know, like because you will figure out like everyone has 24. One of the like we all have to some degree, correct me if I'm wrong, all the 24 strengths, but it's just to what degree we have them.
Yeah.
Right. And I think like certain strengths, I guess, were quite obvious to me, but there were certain strengths that I had that I was like, whoa, I didn't know. So go take the test, and like I said, it's free, and pay attention to your top 5 and your top 10 strengths. I'll say 5 to 10.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty interesting for me.
Yeah.
When I learned about this.
Yeah, I think, just to add on that, so the website is www.viacharacter.org. And
okay, great. You know the website.
www.viacharacter.org. It has our character strengths. And over there, you can see the top 24 strengths. You look at the top 5, and these will be your signature strengths. And there are 120 questions in that. There are 2 types. One is 240. This is 121, so it's easier. So what Jade, you're saying is absolutely right. It takes 15 minutes. And one of the key activity about strengths, right, is to, thanks.
Thanks, Fani, for sharing that with everyone.
Yeah, or maybe we can ask ask everyone to share their strengths, right? The top 5 strengths the next time. Yeah. So I think for strengths, I'd like to add on is that if we play to our strengths, we get motivated, we get energized, we have meaning, we are more connected. Strengths are really very good. And there's one activity that I will recommend, if I may, is to do a strength spotting game. Okay, let me repeat that. Strength spotting game. So the first thing,
Okay.
take the test, know your strengths, and then understand the strengths language. The next thing is that how to spot strengths with your loved ones or your friends. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So for example, that, because you have done this before. So Jade, if I got
Yeah.
to spot based on your activities, your posts and everything, I spot that your strength is definitely zest and enthusiasm. And
That is actually seriously when I took the test, that is my number one strength. And I took the test again, and it was still like some months later, and it was still the number one strength. And yes, so you are definitely right. Zest is connected to energy and enthusiasm, and yeah, it really. I mean, a lot of people say like, where do you get your energy from? I said, I don't know. I mean, I always joke that it's my superpower, but I guess after doing the test, I realized it actually is.
yeah, and if I can add, Jade, that your superpower, you are actually spot on, is a superpower. Strengths are our superpower, and you have zest and gratitude. And likewise, many one of us, we have our top 5 signature strengths that we can pay attention to. So maybe we can roll out a game challenge for people right now who are not motivated and bored. Spot strengths in other people. Maybe you
Yeah.
can, the first thing is that have a conversation with your friends or your loved ones and see whether you can use this method. The first is spot the strength in the 24 for other people. Second is that explain why you spot these to them. And third is also A, is called appreciate, why we appreciate their strengths in them. So just
Okay.
just an overview. So it's SEA, spot, explain, and appreciate.
Okay, let me try. So I think like in the time that I've known you, I don't know if it's your top strength, but the one that really stands out for me is I would say bravery is one of your strengths, and it's probably one of your top ones. I'm correct, right? Yeah,
Right
because
on.
if you know Stefan, like he goes head first into everything, right? Even if he has no idea what he's doing, he will somehow bravely go on, figure it out, and like even if he fails, it's like okay, it's a good learning experience, and then move on. I mean, that's something that I realized about you. So to use the acronym, the SEA acronym, so I spotted bravery as a strength, right? And I'm explaining why. Like I find you very brave in like quite a lot of context, I think. And then I appreciate that because when we start on new things, like even doing this podcast, just give you a little insight into Stefan has like not very great tech skills. Neither do I lah, but I think his is a little bit worse.
You're
So
being modest.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like this is already quite a stretch, honestly, for you to do it and to gamely agree to do it, not just to do like most people just do it Instagram live or Facebook live or YouTube live, but we're doing Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube all at once. Right. So it's kind of a challenge. And so Stefan will actually come like on board early, like we'll get on Zoom early, and he's like, okay, I just want to set up and make sure that everything's okay. And if you came with our first session, you know that we had a bit of technical difficulty, right? But I that's a sense of like the strength of bravery that I definitely see in you. And I think this is a fun exercise that you can do with your friends because firstly, actually just spotting strengths in your friend gives you like it gives you a good feeling. And it's also nice when someone spots a strength in you and appreciates that. So I think that, a good activity that you could do with your friends, if you're not sure what a strength is, okay, there are more than the 24 strengths that are in the VIA, but if you need to get started, like if you're like, what the hell is a strength? Then I think this is a good way to get started because it's 24. Like there's something like appreciation of beauty and excellence, which I didn't realize was one of my strengths. I didn't realize, but it makes sense. It's like why I enjoy hiking so much. I enjoy like adventure. I think someone actually said, Scarlett said in the chat, like my strength is a sense of adventure. Yeah, I think that is maybe zest combined with appreciation of beauty and excellence. Like I like to be in nature, but I
Yeah.
like it to be a bit exciting also lah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When there's
Well,
like a possibility of almost dying, like like if you snowboard, it's a bit more fun than if you just like walk down the hill.
if I could add on about your strength, my turn to spot your strength right now, SEA,
Yeah.
right? I do spot gratitude and appreciation of duty and excellence. And on top of your sense of adventure, I think that you also appreciate people around you. You appreciate the context, the meaning, the mission, what people are doing. And you always remember that you spend time to acknowledge people who might be marginalized or people that are doing really good work. So I think that kudos to that. So that is also your
Yeah,
appreciation.
thank you. Oh yeah, I didn't realize there's appreciation. So I think it's a bit wider than what people might think. So like you said, Fanny actually left the link. Thank you very much in the comments, so you can find the VIA link. If not, Stefan did mention it earlier. So go do that and do that with your friends. I mean, do it for yourself. but also do it with your friends, because that could be a great way to get in touch with you. But okay, I'm a very relationship person. It's also a great way for you to think about and appreciate your friend better, right?
Yeah.
Because I think like I think bravery is a strength that I wish I had a bit more of, which is why I think that's one of the things that I spotted in you, and I appreciate that about you. Like really, like to me, like I know I seem like very gung ho and very adventurous. I am, but then when going into certain things, like, I have to figure out this tech thing all by myself. I'm a bit scared, like, to be really honest. But I feel like Stefan, you just go for it, at any time.
Yeah, well, I think that's why that when we have strengths, we can pair up in many different ways to do different projects, right? So strength
Yeah.
spotting is really good. And
So that
well,
is actually called, it's actually officially called what? Strength spotting, like an
strength spotting.
exercise.
Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
strength spotting in yourself and others. I think for yourself, yeah, you can do the survey, and in others, it's quite fun. Like I think you can even do like an IG live and do it with your friend, or you can do a Zoom call if you're more private, right? And or a house party call. And I think it's a fun thing that you can do with your friend that really will bond both of you.
And for those people who like to watch movie, if
Yeah.
they watch movie together, they can go in and spot the strengths of the movie character or the strength in so-called the protagonist or antagonist, you know? Yeah,
Oh. Okay,
yeah,
so that's another way to kind of strength spot. Is that what
yes,
you're saying?
yes.
Okay, well, I don't watch a lot of things, but recently I've been watching, because of my husband, like, I've been watching The Last Dance on Netflix. So, okay, I don't know if any of y'all watched it. Okay, I'm really not a TV or movie person. Ironic, I know. But The Last Dance, Stefan, have you watched it?
No, I've not. Tell me
Hey,
more.
you should watch it with your fiance,
Okay.
because it's about Michael Jordan in like the 1990s. Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, and okay, it's a sports thing. I actually don't watch sport. I just like to play sport, and it's basketball, not a sport that I play. But it's amazing, like how they have all this footage of on court footage, which I appreciate watching, like real athleticism on court. But also there's a lot of off court footage that's very interesting. And I've never, like I said, been a basketball fan, but after watching it, I have a newfound respect for Michael Jordan. Like I definitely spot like certain strengths in him, like perseverance is like
Mm,
super high. I think it is in a lot of sports people, but he takes it kind of to a different level. He really,
mm.
really takes his perseverance like to another level. And I guess that's what you're saying. Like if you watch a movie, or in this case, even a documentary, you can try to spot the strengths in the characters or the protagonists in that show, right?
Yeah, and strength spotting is really good. So when we talk about Michael Jordan, it brought me back to my childhood memories, that everyone
Yeah.
respect him. He's such an iconic figure. And if we can continue to build this strength spotting skill, we will also affect our optimism and our perspective taking in lives. So it will help us on the happiness too. So it's a big, big thing to do. And one more activity is that maybe I can just throw a question out. You
Yeah.
can spot strength in your hero, okay? Okay, a
Okay.
hero is somebody that you look up to. It could be a loved one, or it could
Mm-hmm.
be a fictional character or spiritual character or anything, a political figure, or someone you look up to and spot the strength in that person. So for example, one of my hero would be Mother Teresa. So I really like her, and because she's full of kindness and compassion and full of love. So I really like the thing about her. So the question to everyone as a strength spotting game, who
Yeah.
is your hero and what are the strengths of a hero?
Okay, that's really interesting. Like, okay, I would say Michael Jordan. I wouldn't say he's my hero, because I'm of course I know who he is. Who doesn't, right? But I've never known him so intimately as in this documentary, I guess. And he's becoming, yeah, to me, it's like, wow. I mean, as an athlete, that's really, really, really quite something. So I think that's pretty cool. And I guess your hero can be a non so-called famous figure. Like one of my heroes is my grandmother, and I
Mm.
think in her also I spot the strength of bravery, because they were very poor, but she just kind of soldiered on, and she was very clear that she wanted to put all the kids through school, and she never wanted to like ask people for like a favor. Even if she would get something, she'll work for it. She'll rather work for it, right? So I think that's something that I spot in one of my heroes, and I think that's a really, really nice exercise. In fact, I don't know, like like I've been talking a lot about journaling, not so much with you, Steph, but just in general, and been thinking a lot about it. Maybe it's something that you can do for yourself and write down. It's a Saturday afternoon, guys. Like after this, here's some exercises for you that I think could be really nice. In a
Mm.
really good way, like you said, this whole strength spotting exercise, whether you're spotting in yourself, your friends, your hero, or someone that you see on TV, um, it's a way to increase optimism,
Yeah.
enhance well-being, and Who doesn't want more of that?
Yeah, of course. And I think the last, I like to use metaphor, right? For those who are listening, for strengths, when you look at, strengths are like when you look out in the sky during the darkest of time, you see stars, right? And when stars are together, they form a constellation. And you look at constellation, oh, what a beautiful constellation. So when your top 5 strengths are like your constellation of stars. And these strengths help you shine and people love you for it. So find out the strengths, spot strengths in other people. By doing so, you're also improving, using your own strengths too.
I really like that. I really, really like that. We're going to take some questions now. I have one last question for Stefan though, which is, I guess, has a slightly more negative tone, but just curious. Okay, so as I did like the VIA test myself, right? So obviously there are 24 strengths and I obviously don't score high in everything. So for example, my lowest scoring strength is prudence. I like how you laugh.
Me too. One of my lowest.
Yeah, maybe that's why we're friends. I'm not a very prudent person at all. Okay, so I kind of like just go into things and I don't really think too hard and I don't really, to me it's like want to go then go all the way. So prudence is like, I would say like my last strength on the list. Does that also make it a weakness then? And why do we've not talked about weaknesses at all? Like, I think that, like, I do feel like I could be a bit more prudent in a lot of ways, but we've been talking about strengths. So should we not focus on weakness at all?
Well, I would say that we need to focus on some weakness, but because our preoccupation of focusing on weakness all these years make us forget about our strengths. So my quick answer is that it is better to focus on strength because naturally you have already focused on your weakness. Yeah. And they give strengths attention. And imagine that if your strength from 1 to 10, it is at number 5 or number 6 in terms of capabilities, you focus on strength, right? You increase your strength even better, you get even better results. So I highly recommend that, focus on the strength. And if let's say that, for example, your lower strengths in prudence, does it mean that you're not a prudent person? It's not. It's more like you will focus on other strengths more than this strength. You see?
Okay.
So if let's say that we are working a project together or in a work situation, maybe you can tie out with somebody who have prudent, who have this strength. Yeah.
So it's more like an awareness of the strengths that are lower on the list and to try to complement or find people to complement them in situations where I might need to be a bit more prudent.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And probably not choose a job like, what job would require prudence? Like an accountant? Something that's a bit more detailed and like a bit more systematic. Like probably that would not be the right thing to do for me to try to be an accountant because it's not playing to my strengths.
Yeah. Like my business partner, she is a trained accountant. So one of her top strengths are prudence. So that's why we work.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is going to hire me as an accountant or auditor or something like that in a hurry. Okay, so thank you so much. Thanks, Stefan, also for doing this.
Thank you.
We're going to take one question because we are almost time. I'm trying to keep this to like half an hour. Fadi says, would you say weaknesses can be viewed as a strength depending on the situation that you're in? Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah, quick answer is that when you are right, Fanny, that sometimes weakness can be viewed as a strength depending on the situation. But something to take note is that sometimes when you know that this is your strength and you overuse it, when you overuse it again and again and again, and it may become a weakness because you're on an overdrive. So for example, that I am brave, right, as what Jade said. So if I continue to make very brave decisions and under my relationships causing stress and harm to other people, then it becomes a weakness. So it becomes an overdrive.
Okay. Okay. I guess like my zest. No, there was a time, because I really am very energetic and I forget that I need to rest and I forget that I need to sleep. So the zest taken to extremes is just like I will really burn out and get sick. Like I used to burn out and get sick every few months, and I know it's from just a lack of rest, lack of water, lack of general things that one should do to take care of one's body. So I'm a bit more aware of it now. Now in the circuit breaker, I feel like I am so taking care of myself, drinking water, sleeping early. But I guess after this whole thing is over, I hope to also be able to, like you said, not to overplay, even if it is a top strength.
Absolutely. And of course, zest is a very unique strength. Not everybody have that. So you must share tips next time with other of all us. How do you grow and develop that strength too?
Yeah, I remember when I told you that the first time, you said that literally I'm like one of the, either the only person or the second person who has
Yeah.
zest as a number one strength.
Yes. Yeah. The second or third person that I've met who is zest as number one are like very deeply impressed. But which is good because that you brings energy to people around you.
Yeah.
So that's like a star radiating. Then you pull people up in a motivating way. So in a group setting, maybe sports, you also motivate other people. So it's a good strength.
I like to think so, although I think my teammates sometimes want to kill me.
Why?
If I say let's do like some more, for example, when
True.
everyone's tired. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks, Stefan, for shedding more light on this. Remember, it's a nice Saturday afternoon. Go do the VIA strengths test. Go try to, if you are gonna watch a show or something this afternoon, then just laze. Just make it a bit more interesting for yourself and think about the strengths that the protagonist or the lead character has in the show. And yeah, I think just give this whole strengths thing a go. When you have time, really please do the test and do it with your friends as well.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you
Thank
next
you. See you
week.
all. Bye-bye. Thank you, Jade.
Bye.